Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody to the May 20th Marion County Commission meeting. Commissioner Dahlke, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh man, you're coming through loud and clear. All right.
He's not here.
He's good. I don't see anyone from the public in the room. Is there anyone that would like to make comments online? If so, unmute your microphone. Okay, not seeing anything, we'll close the public comments, move to agenda approval. Any additions to the agenda? I would like to talk about a letter from Gary County. I don't know if we can do that under administrative if we have time.
Sure.
Okay. About the juvenile detention facility. Any other additions to the agenda? If not, agenda is approved and we're ready to move into administrative. Ashley?
I have the minutes from May 6th. I added in more to the commission comments.
Okay. Commissioner Dahlke, does that look satisfactory to you?
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay. Do you want that one separate or do them all together?
I've got a comment on 13th.
Okay, let's move to May 13th.
Under the May 13th commission discussion 30 by 30, says our Becker does not want to separate the trails. It said it should be proposed trails.
Okay.
Any other corrections to the minutes? Why don't we go ahead and bundle them? I lost my dates. May 6th, 12th, 13th, and 14th with the text amendment on the 13th. Is there a motion to approve? Okay, motion by Commissioner Dahlke, second by Commissioner Gehring. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0.
Just don't sign the.
Right.
This. There's the 6th.
Okay.
And there's the 14th.
Okay.
And then I'll make those changes and then you can sign it.
Sounds good.
Next I have some change orders.
sheets. Bartles, C&J Production. I have interest in those, just full disclosure. Check for problem one.
Okay. Change orders complete.
Okay, I made that correction on May 13th if you wanna look at it. And sign. Commission comment?
I'm sorry.
You're fine. It does not want to separate the proposed trail.
Let you look at it again. It's right in here.
Got it.
There we go.
Okay, we have early checks in the amount of $10,324.67.
Okay, questions on early checks? Is there a motion to approve?
Just one question.
Okay, sure.
Are we getting billed by the hour for the remodel?
No.
It's a contract?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It pays out in steps?
Yeah, he needed an advance payment so that he could purchase what needed to be done to the room.
Other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Becker, second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Any discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Okay,
Okay, and that's all I have.
all right, Tina?
In your packet, you had the administrative update. Does anybody have questions about anything?
Any questions, Tina? No, it looks like another busy week.
Okay, yeah. This is actually National EMS Week, so I told Chuck that I would let you all know.
Yes.
And I wanted to verify that you're okay with moving forward with I think we've talked about this before, but so much has happened, I can't remember now, with the supervisor positions, now that the job descriptions are in place. It was budgeted for this year, so I just wanted to make sure everybody was good with it.
Any comments on the movement that we've put in place?
Gonna advertise for one now?
It's for the supervisor position. I believe it'll be posted, but also there are some internal candidates for some of the shifts, so.
There is 3 positions, correct?
There will be, I think Chuck is on here. Chuck, do you want to speak to that? Are you listening in?
Yes.
Yeah, he says yes. So yes, 3 positions.
Well, you know, it's a good thing. I understand that. I'm still concerned of getting things rolling down the south end. So just keep that in mind, Commission.
That's what I was just about to bring up. I'm good with that. I just want to make sure we don't take the foot off the gas on down south.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and then I'm curious, we have a land bank meeting scheduled for June 3rd. And I don't know if anyone has any business for that, but if not, I didn't know if you maybe wanted to think about canceling that meeting for June 3rd.
I told Tina,
That's on you.
send
You gotta
Send the prior minutes out and cancel the meeting, because we don't have any other action.
That'll work.
All right.
Got a consensus.
Okay. I did send you out just a brief little update about the storms last night from Marcy. And basically that Burns had the most significant damage. There was some slight damage in other areas, but Burns had the most, and she's over there today. So I don't really have much else on that at the moment.
Are there questions or storm comments?
I'm sure that they're coordinating with Mennonite Disaster Relief, because that operates out of Burns and Durham. So
There you go.
they should have a lot of equipment.
They're there already, probably.
I did ask for an executive session to discuss property acquisition. So I did put it on the agenda, but since we're running a little bit early, maybe, I don't know if you'd want to go ahead and do that.
How much time would you like?
It really is only going to take 5 or 10 minutes. It won't take very long.
Okay. I move we recess to executive session in order to discuss property acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, which would be item 6, preliminary discussion acquisition of real estate with the commission and Tina. And let's go for 10 minutes so we could get Commissioner Dahlke on board, going from 12:45 to 12:55. Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. How do we want to bring? Okay, I think Jonah's calling you, Randy.
All right, everything's on.
Train on the phone.
Jeez.
Okay, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. I'd like to go back in for a 5-minute personnel performance issue. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance of an individual pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance of an individual with the commission and Tina for 5 minutes. That'd be from 12:55 to 1 o'clock. Second by Commissioner Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0, back at 1 o'clock.
That's one that should have been curved,
Yeah.
the circle, had an angle on
Good to go. All right, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. We're ready for Carla Mann. Is Carla here?
No. Yeah, the hallway.
We had, actually had Carla on the agenda and not you, so.
Lucky Carla. If I would have known that, I would have made her come.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Be here again, I think.
On the news not too long ago.
We've been on the news quite a few times
Had to
here.
give the old governor tour.
Yes, we did the governor's tour. I think we're on the news for our urgent care unit. We're on the news for groundbreaking crisis housing. So we've been busy.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. I did not get my letter into you guys in like decent time. Do you want me to pass around what I
If you don't mind.
data, facts, all that good stuff?
And Commissioner Dahlke is online, so he's up here on the box.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Do you want me just to go ahead and get started?
You bet.
Okay, well,
You
I'll
have the floor.
talk a little bit about statistics in mental health. As you know, 1 in 5 Americans suffer from mental illness at any given point in time. When you look at rural counties, there's been an increase in mental health issues from 17 to 28%. So some of our rural counties are struggling more with mental illness. And then when you look at the amount of money that's spent worldwide, the World Health Organization says that just on the 2 diagnoses of depression and anxiety alone is a global economy of $1 trillion. But when you go and you break down governmental expenditures, it's a little less than 2% that gets allocated towards mental health. So I say all that to say is mental health is a growing issue, and funding needs to grow with our issue because a lot of folks that we serve don't have a means to pay for it. And then I just provided some data. If you look on here, for Marion County, Marion County is not far off from the state average. You're at $822 per person per capita. The state average is $861, so doing great here. Just some data for Prairie View. We performed 226 evaluations for state hospitalization last year. 44 of those folks came from Marion County. In the calendar year of 22, we did 9,800 patients we served. 492 of those patients were from Marion County. To those 492 patients, we provided nearly 11,724 services. So even though there's not a large number of people, we're providing a big number of services to those folks. 85% of those individuals were either underinsured or uninsured. And I want to clarify when I say underinsured, they may very well have insurance, but some of the rehabilitative services that we provide are not covered by insurance, such as case management, peer mentoring, like just various different services that are more on that rehabilitative side. Private insurances don't cover that. And so 33% of our care was charitable services, which means people who could not afford to pay for anything, and we received $0. So when you look at the sum of money that was invested into Marion County that we lost on, it was $833,959 in either bad debt, which means patients were supposed to pay for it but couldn't pay for it, insurance denied it, or they were just charitable cases that we provided services to. So all of that numbers, we're talking about kind of our losses, but then we've continued to expand as a service provider. We've started doing mobile crisis response. We've implemented patient navigators, which kind of help get patients into services and there's no delay in service. We've done same-day access, which means folks don't have to wait for an appointment anymore. Started that a year ago in May, and we've seen over close to 1,200 new people that have never been in services before or who were in services and closed out and wanted to come back. They were able to do that same day without having to wait for any appointments. We've also implemented our urgent care unit, and if you're not familiar with that, essentially that is our unit that went from an inpatient unit to a crisis center, so folks can just walk in. There's no red tape for insurance companies. There's no pre-authorizations. Also, if they're involuntary, and we've talked to law enforcement about this, if they're involuntary and there's no state hospital bed, law enforcement can bring them to us and we'll hold them and work to get them a state hospital bed. So we feel like that's a really big lift for us. What we're seeing, we've only been doing that for a month and a half, but most of those folks have no insurance. So that's going to be another service we're providing without any funding sources for it. On top of that, we added a medical provider in our crisis department. So if people come in for crisis and it's a like a medication issue, they don't have to wait 4 to 6 to 8 weeks for a med service. They can get seen by a med provider same day and start getting on medications and then kind of be seen along the way until they can get in with a regular med provider. So we're really just trying to remove barriers, get people in for services and get them what it is they need. All of that on top of we become a certified community behavioral health clinic, which means we're meeting that federal initiative and that state initiative of providing more services with the goal of keeping people stable in their communities and out of hospitals. So staffing wise, in Marion County, we have 20 staff. Annual payroll for those individuals is nearly 1.2 million. So I come to you today to ask for consideration and funding per review with the sum of $99,176.64. That's just about a 2% increase from what we asked for last year. So that's all of my talking, all of my data, all of the good things going on per review. And I would stand for any questions if any of you have any questions for me.
You state that 33% of your services are charitable. Is that figured in the money you lost?
Yes. Yep. So that money we lost is all of the charitable.
They're not really charitable services. It's just money you're writing off.
We're not. It's a patient never sees a bill for it. We never even. Some of the services that are included in there are bills that people are supposed to be paying for, and then they just don't pay for it, and we have to write it off as bad debt. The charitable care is people that we know they have no way of paying for it, so we don't even hit them with a bill. We just provide services and then keep a total of what that looks like. Because we don't want to defer people from coming into treatment because of the financial side of it.
Save the paperwork, huh?
Yeah.
Other questions?
You do a profit and loss statement for Marion County?
For Marion County, no, we do a profit and loss statement overall. But
Would it be possible to do profit and loss statements for counties, being that you're requesting funding from each one of them? So, we'd know, are you making some money in Marion County, or are you just providing service and losing money?
well, I can tell you that we lost about $3 million. We didn't make any money last year. We lost $3 million. There would be no profit. We actually.
You keep going then.
Well, the state, we've done a lot of work with the state. That's this urgent care unit that came into place was a state initiative. And so the state helped fund the renovations for that and helped pay for some salaries for staffing for that. So we worked with the state. Now that we have the CCBHC model, we're going to see our losses decrease. We're still going to have losses because we're still going to have people that have Blue Cross and Blue Shield insurance but need case management, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield won't pay for case management. People have Medicare. They're still going to need services that are not covered by Medicare. Medicare will pay for therapy and medication management if your provider is a certain kind of licensed provider. If not, we provide the service and then we lose the money on it.
So CMHC is a budget item with the state, I'm taking for granted. The CMHCs, which you're part of, there's a budget line item for your type of business in the state budget.
For all 26 CMHCs, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
How do they determine how much you get? Is it based on your?
They don't tell me that. They just tell me, here's your contract, these are the services we need you to provide, these are the data I need you to report, and this is how much we'll give you to do all that. So there's if there's a method behind the madness, it's never been shared with me. I'm certain there is a method behind the madness. I just don't know what that is.
Like that'd be a good question of your state rep.
Dave?
How's the new hospital building in Wichita gonna help you?
We're anticipating it will hurt us staffing wise. Like we're gonna probably lose staff.
Like everything else, yeah.
Yeah, around 30, at any given time, around 35-40% of our staff on the Newton campus come from Wichita. So that the hospital care, that's one of the bigger reasons we shifted away from inpatient unit, is knowing there's gonna be 104 beds that go in 30 miles away. but what they don't have is an urgent care unit, right? A place that serves just our 3 counties. Because right now, in our inpatient unit, before we transitioned it, 40 to 50% of those folks came from Sedgwick County. So this new unit will just serve Marion, McPherson, and Harvey County. And so we're keeping our dollars local at this point. But we'll still fight for staff.
Other questions?
That is being built in Newton, you say?
No, Wichita.
Wichita, okay.
Any other questions, Commissioner Dalkey?
No, that was it. I just wanted to make sure I knew where it was being built at.
Okay, I want to make sure you had an opportunity to ask questions.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, thank you for the report and for coming in and answering questions. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Have a good day.
Hey, Tracy.
Hi,
Hi. We're ready.
good morning.
Good
I
morning.
guess it's afternoon.
Yes,
I apologize, I did have a presentation prepared for you. It's in the trunk of my car.
Oh.
And we were hit by a tornado at our home last night, and I just couldn't access it this morning. So I can just share the information with you, and I can send that in later if anybody
that would be
wants.
great. Yes.
So Core Community is doing a lot of good things in
Mhm.
Marion County since we spoke last. And I want to share our numbers with you, as soon as I find them on here. So our current numbers as of April of this year, April 30th this year, we have 6 families out of poverty. I believe the last time I met with you, we had 2 families out of poverty. We now have 6. We are serving 26 families in Marion County. Those 26 families combined have had an income increase of $17,079 a month. And they have decreased their debt by a total of $91,206.23. We've also had 24 graduates from our Getting Ahead class, which is our first class. Many of those stay on to what we call phase 2, where we really dig into building resources for them. And we have more people participating in Core Community in Marion County than we've ever had before. And so we're super excited about that. When we were here last, we did talk about the cost of poverty to the county and the state and the federal government. And I had updated that information, but I don't have it with me today. So I would just like to say we are requesting $10,000 if we could. And I'm open to any questions that anybody has.
Well, first, our sympathy on the struggle you have personally with the tornado and the bad weather. That's
Well, let me say my house is undamaged.
good.
And my husband and I are unharmed.
Good.
The rest of our property and outbuildings, not so much, but but we were very blessed that we're okay, and so is our home.
And then to follow up, I want to thank you for all the work you're doing in Marion County. Obviously, dealing with families in poverty is a terrible need. The good news is you're reaching more people. The bad news is there's so many more people to reach.
There is so many more, and that's our biggest struggle, is finding those families to bring them into our program. There's a lot of shame with poverty, and so they don't just readily say, ooh, here I am, come talk to me about Core Community. So we have to work pretty hard to find them. And then a lot of those families start with us and then leave, and they realize the magnitude of what's going to happen there. But some of them come back, and some of them have come back to be successful. And even our families that aren't yet out of financial poverty are building resources in their lives and really doing better, and it becomes stabilized. And so we're very proud of the fact that we're helping them be stable, especially their children and how that affects school and IEPs and classroom behavior and things like that. I mean, those things are all very important to us.
Questions?
Well, I know with the cost of living, what we're trying to, I mean, just 5 years ago, what was considered a middle income person is now a person in poverty.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's blows me away what it cost to a family of 4. A family of 4 now is paying, as of yesterday, or last Friday probably, $1,047 per month more than they were paying 4 years ago
I have
for
no,
the same service. And
but their income has not gone up that much. You know, and our 2024 federal poverty guidelines are showing too that the federal poverty line for a family of four is, I wanna, and I apologize again, I don't have my documentation, but I wanna say it's 32,000 a year. That's not very much for a family of four, and that's the number that they are technically out of poverty at. Although when we say they're out of poverty, they're not just above that number. When we say they're out of poverty, they're at 200% of the poverty line or higher. And we chose that number because that's when they do not qualify for any services anymore. And they no food stamps, no childcare assistance, no state insurance. They're fully self-supportive at 200%. And so that's the number we use. So when I say we have 6 families out of poverty, then they are at least 200% above the poverty guidelines.
Commissioner Dahlke, did you have any questions?
No, just like you said, I know there was a lot of people hit over there, but yours wasn't a tornado. It was mostly straight wind, wasn't it, Tracy?
Well, I don't know. We had National Weather Service and the Marion County Emergency Management out there this morning, as well as a couple news stations. Preliminary reports are they're saying it looks like a tornado, but we have to wait for the final reports. We did provide them with some radar imaging that my husband had last night, and there was a definite hook right above us, so.
Okay, well, sorry, I mean, you can't stop Mother Nature, I guess, but,
We can't, but we're okay, and that's what counts, right?
yeah.
that's amazing.
Back to your job, when you get your reports, just go ahead and send them in. That way we can look at them and see what all you give to us.
Okay,
And I thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, I prefer them digitally anyway. Send it to Tina, and that way I get a digital copy.
I'll get an email address from you before I go.
Are you meeting just in one place or in different towns?
Where we meet every Thursday is in Hillsborough at the First Mennonite Church. But in the summertime, I'm sure you've noticed, is why you've asked, in the summertime, on the 3rd Thursday of each month, we do travel the county. And we do that for more exposure, to help find families that need our services. We try to get that word out as much as possible, where we're gonna be, and come join us for a free meal and ask questions. And we do find families that way sometimes. So starting in June, 3rd Thursday of June, we're gonna meet at the park in Gossel. 3rd Thursday of July, we'll be at the pool in Hillsborough. And the 3rd Thursday in August, we'll be out here at the county lake.
Cool.
Like I said, and we'll try to get that information out as much as possible.
You maintain your location at the church in Hillsborough when that gets converted to childcare?
We're not at that church anymore.
You're a different.
Because of the technically that's our home. We'll probably return there, but we don't know when. That was Trinity Mennonite, which is our home.
That's what I was
But we moved over to First Mennonite. They were very gracious and offered us space there. So that's where we're at right now. We would, kind of our 5-year plan, if you will, we'd like to, if we could increase our funding a little bit, we would like to open a second site in Marion County on the other side of the county, like maybe in Florence or Peabody or somewhere like that, to make it easier for people over there to get to us. Although we do have families from over there that come to us. We pay for their gas for them to come, or we set up carpools and arrange for transportation for them to come. We provide dinner for them and their family that night and free childcare on site. But our goal is to be able to have 2 sites in Marion County on each side of the county to make that easier for families.
So what do you need, just a meeting space, basically?
Well, we need a meeting space, but we'd have to have more staff, more training materials, more stuff. It would increase our annual budget by about 20%, because we wouldn't need to duplicate our entire staff. Just like a facilitator and a childcare provider over at that site. I would still remain the director over both sites. And right now, I'm also the community liaison that's doing all the fundraising, and I would do that for both sites too, so there'd be no duplication there.
Any other questions? If not, Tracy,
I was just gonna say, I'm totally on board with, the more people you get out of poverty, the better off
All of us.
expense is for everybody, so. And paying it on the front end, sometimes people don't see how you're spending the money and are you doing it wisely, and I can see this as a wise spend. So,
A lot of people, if their family's not touched by poverty, they don't see it. But the reality is it touches all of us and affects all of us, even if we're not in poverty. So I mean, it's the community's problem. And we're working hard to solve it.
all right. Well, thank you, Tracy. We appreciate the work you're doing. We appreciate you taking time to come in, especially after a stressful day. I should get back to it, but we do appreciate it. And when you get a chance, Tina will give you the email address to send the information to.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys too.
Thank you. Okay, we've done the property acquisition discussion. Shall we go to the Doyle Creek watershed?
We can. I had asked Sharon to come.
Okay, we could do the Gary County.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that one.
yeah,
Fill in some space.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so commission received a letter from Gary County about the North Central Kansas Juvenile Detention Facility, which we are a member and I am the representative. In their letter, their representative has expressed numerous concerns and they'd like to revisit the funding formula, which has been used since the facility started in 1992. So on the issue of concerns, the minutes from November 15th, she had 14 specific concerns issued. She had brought them up the month before. Staff fully investigated every one of them. Responses are fully documented. All of them are clear. There's not an issue. They state there's issues with judges. The one judge wrote a letter in 2022. The board responded. She has said the staff and the operation is good, but the one representative from Gary County continues to raise issues with the rest of the board, saying there's a problem. So the other 12 counties, in fact, we've seen all the issues addressed. We've agreed they were closed. We had a vote. She agreed to the vote, said it was closed. Last month, she brought it up again. All of the issues in the past. So needless to say, staff and other representatives are getting very frustrated in how to handle that, because she is going to judges, she is going to Department of Corrections, she's going to the insurance provider, she's going to the press. And it's undermining the ability of the juvenile detention facility, which is critical to all 12 counties. So that makes it a serious concern for us. There's really no mechanism on that board for removal or replacement of a member. But in this case, she took the initiative to contact each county with a letter. And she has her other two commissioners that signed the letter that was addressed to the county. So it really comes up to us as counties to respond to their county with their concerns. So what I'm trying to do is relay what's happened at the board level and then give you the opportunity to ask me questions or ask for information and some guidance on how to respond.
Can each camp, well, I'm not saying each, can the county commission write a letter recommending to the board, recommending her removal?
I think the letter would have to go back to Gary County asking for a different representative, because the board itself doesn't have a method of removing members. Each county is given the responsibility of appointing their representative. So if their commissioner thinks their representative's doing the right job, then that representative's gonna continue to disrupt and disrespect the rest of the board members.
So is that gonna be a recommendation that each county send that letter?
I feel that that's our response. And that's what I feel from the 11 other counties is gonna be their response.
That's what needs to be done, is
That's
everything's been approved and
right, all of the concerns have been
everything,
addressed.
there was no problem, it was just one troublemaker kind of.
We all have a process, just like here at this commission, any board you're on, there's a process. If there's an issue, if there's a complaint, you bring your complaint, you get a response, and the board reviews that response. Is it adequate? Is it inadequate? Does action need to be taken or does it not need to be taken? In this case, all of those concerns have been addressed, and 11 of the 12 board members feel that the current concerns have been satisfactorily addressed.
Keys.
In fact, she voted that it was done and it was closed. You can see it in the minutes.
It's the last little bit.
And then the next
Apologized and-
2 months later,
and seconded the motion.
yes, and then 2 months later comes back and wants them all reopened again. We also instituted a complaint policy, which she seconded the complaint policy. And now she wants the complaint policy amended and changed.
So in your estimation, does she have any legitimate concerns or is it a vendetta against certain individuals?
She has a law enforcement background. And this is Gary County, so Junction City, so she obviously knows all the players. I don't want to make assumptions, but something just doesn't seem right.
Well, not when it's taken care of, you thought, and then comes back.
Right. And
The
especially.
same form.
Yes, yes, and you have 11 other counties that are
Yeah.
satisfied with how things are proceeding. And it is becoming disruptive. The staff is getting very frustrated because they've spent a tremendous amount of time digging back through all the documentation, providing everything for the board to review again. And obviously perception, you know, you've got a board member going out in the public and making statements, and which if you go through, a lot of those are assumptions that were proven false. It becomes damaging to the entity. So then if the next page behind the minutes is kind of a summary that the director put together of some of their success stories is the counties that they serve have never had an increase in the funding formula. No other county in Kansas has the detention center that the combined entities only pay $850,000. The state of Kansas pays 62% of the budget. Participating counties pay 38%. There's 2 facilities, and that was with a change. Obviously, law enforcement and detention centers are closely scrutinized, but when you talk about youth facilities, you're talking about a whole new level of scrutiny and philosophies. And Department of Correction has changed a lot of their philosophies and their regulations over the last several years. So the detention facility used to be pretty straightforward. Well, that's changed, and now a lot of the philosophy is not to put kids in detention. So the number in that is decreased, so the staff has come up with the process of using secure care, which is another area, and using that to raise money to keep the facility operational.
That's what you're talking about, 2 facilities.
It's under one roof.
Oh, it's under one, but one's kind of secured and the other's
Yeah.
not so much?
You're talking 2 different programs
Right.
under one roof, one administration. As he follows through, secure care has failed in most of the others, but he's been successful in running that one. And again, there have been no lawsuits against the facility, which,
That should tell you something.
so we get a report each month on any reports or complaints. Every month there's complaints. You know, a kid or somebody's gonna complain about something, so then Department of Corrections investigates, everyone is dismissed. Jeff, we're talking about the juvenile detention facility in Junction City. Did that happen to be why you came over, or do you have another issue?
Nope, I was gonna update you about a vehicle I just got word about.
Okay. On the detention facility, any thoughts, your experiences?
I mean, we run all that through DCF, or not
Right.
DCF, but through, DCF and JIA.
Right.
We don't really get any say in it or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, they tell us that we can or can't go.
Right.
Those kids go there and go back.
Yeah.
It is.
Because you can't handle them here. It's a process.
We're not allowed to have them really even in our facility. We can't even have them in custody more than 6 hours before we have to make a decision.
And that's why the counties came together for this facility.
Most of those
Correct.
juvies are kind of like a weekend. They have to be there for the weekends if school's going on or something, or do they? It's not so much that way.
They get some schooling in there. It depends on crime. It depends on what JIA says, how long they're going to be in there. I don't think really school comes into play when you've got a pretty major crime or anything.
Right. They do provide education, high school education, secure care more so. It's a little different type of twist. A lot of them maybe have been arrested and they're waiting for trial or court. So they're in that transition period between being arrested and then going to court and for the next step. But if we don't have that, what do we do? I mean, we need a good facility and a good.
You know, when we do a PPC or do a child in need of care, JIA makes the determination where they go. You know, if it's not a severe enough crime to go to Junction City, then they have to place them somewhere in foster care for like a PPC. And then if you got a kid that's broke the law and is pretty egregious, I mean, yeah, we got to have somewhere to go with them. There has to be some kind of solution, and that ain't a solution, but it's a place to house them until we can figure out what's going to happen to them afterwards.
And they run an open book if anyone wants to come up for a tour, take a tour. I've always been impressed with the director, but their assistant director, Angela Hamilton, she is phenomenal. She's been real good about bringing down the temperature when things get heated in the meeting room. She's really good about working with the kids. She gives us monthly reports on the programs. They just had 2 high school graduations. They've got their GED. Programs they do, education projects they do to keep the kids involved, active, not just being isolated. So I guess my take from being on the board has been they're doing an extremely good job. And it frustrates me that it's being disrupted, and questions need to be asked. They need to be addressed. But after they've been addressed, let's move on and let staff get their work done.
When I got the letter, I actually just asked the clerk of the district court if she was aware of any issues or concerns being expressed by any of the judges, the district court judges, and she was not aware of any concerns or had not been.
Another piece of the puzzle then is the last page, which is the funding formula for 2025. It's extremely small print, but as you can see, the process has been using a 5-year rolling average of days. The concentration is obviously Gary County. They're right there at the top, Saline County, and then Riley County. Dickinson County is going to have a big jump. You can see their numbers really went up last year. But by being on a 5-year rolling average, it gives you time to kind of level it out. And then some of us that are in the smaller counties, let's see where we at. Yeah, Marion, our 2019, we have a big number, which will go off next year. Morris County has.
Dave?
Yes, Randy.
When you're talking all these other counties, you have to have some sort of way to sort of get a letter of accreditation from the other counties feeling that they want to move on, and somehow it has to be through that meeting to happen that way. And I think you just have to stand up and ask for all counties to give a letter of how they want to move forward with this, and if they can overrule this situation, then maybe that member needs to be released from Gary County.
Well, that's the feeling of the 11 other counties.
I think somebody's gonna have to push for that to get it done, I think.
Yeah, well, we have.
But you think the drafting of a letter from the county?
What I'm asking for is a letter from Marion County Commission responding to the Gary County Commission.
We should support Dave.
Well, yeah, and support the minutes of the meeting.
Right. That's.
Yeah.
There were some memorandums, but I didn't feel comfortable putting them in, that the minutes are public information, so I don't feel, I mean, the minutes lay it out pretty clear what happened at the meetings. There's two issues here. The one is the accusations of issues, and the other issue is the funding formula, which those are the two issues that they lined out on the second page of their letter. So I guess what I would ask, well, first, I would ask on the funding proposal, does the commission see any need to change the funding formula?
I don't think so. I think it was a good setup, so if you have that rise, your cost next year goes up. I mean.
Yeah, it's you use it, you use and pay, I mean.
Yeah.
And it's, I like the idea it's averaged over 5 years, so you don't hit spikes.
Right.
And then the other issue would be the representation, to me, the complaints. So I guess what I would ask is for permission to draft a letter with Tina in response and present it next week.
Do that in the form of a motion.
Yeah, I guess I would ask for that.
I'll make a motion that Tina would draft a letter from the county commission to Geary County Commission asking for a change in representation.
And support of the current.
Support of the funding formula.
Very good. We have a motion from Commissioner Becker. Is there a second? Second, Commissioner Gearing. Discussion or questions? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you guys. I appreciate that.
That address all of it, or just the funding part?
No, the first one was concerns and the representation. We'll work on the wording that using the minutes, the concerns have all been addressed.
I would make that motion to do that.
I think we had that in the original motion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm just explaining
Okay, yeah.
a
'cause
little
I
bit
was-
how we're gonna address
I
that.
was a little confused like Randy that we took care of this. I thought we just took care of the funding part.
There were two issues
Yeah.
addressed by the letter. The one was the complaints, the second one was the funding formula.
One was representation, one was the,
Right. So we'll
That was
present,
in your motion?
that was in the motion.
there we go. Okay,
Make sure it was in there.
we will have a draft for you to review next week. Okay, Sheriff,
Yes, sir.
what did you didn't sound like you had good news for us.
Oh, it's not really that news at all. Well, yes and no. So we had all the issues with those Durangos, we kept blowing oil coolers out of them. Spoke with Midway, and they're saying that Mopar Dodge has found the issue, and it actually is the water pump is overpressurizing at high speeds, blowing the lines and the oil coolers off of them, causing them to overheat and blow the motors. We're gonna have one sitting over there because now they have to design a water pump. They have to get it out on the fleet, which they thought would be in this month. They're not 100% sure, but they've made us aware of the problem. They can fix our Durango now, but if we blow it up between now and the new part, we're gonna own it all the way. So I've chose to leave it set over there until they can fix it properly. So that is a little bit of a good news. The bad news is one of our police vehicles was at the academy last night when Hutch got hit with the storm, and we lost some windows out of a patrol car. We're making arrangements to get them fixed, but just wanted to give you guys a heads up. We had one vehicle in the storm, so that's really all I had.
How many other Durangos are there left?
Probably 6 of them total.
So will they then get this water pump?
Well, and so what they said was they can't decide if Mopar's going to do what they call either they can do a warranty, like a recall on them, or do a service bulletin and have people bring them in. I'm personally going to request all of ours get done with the amount of problems we've had with them. But that's the decision Mopar makes.
Okay.
I do believe though, if they just do a service bulletin and they say that, well, this one's fine, it hasn't overheated yet, and then 2,000 miles later, we're running to a call and it overheats, then they're gonna have to be doing something, and we'll hold them to it. So.
Questions? All right, thank you for the update. Appreciate that. It's good to finally get an answer.
Yes, it is. It's very good. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Got Chevy on the docket for the next one? Got Chevy on the docket for the next one?
We'll talk about that. Hey, a couple more years, and I can put an antique tag on and still drive it around.
All right, welcome, Sharon. Did you have any comments? We're moving into the discussion on the Doyle Creek watershed. Did you have any comments on that?
No.
No, I think I'm just here mainly for,
No.
support.
You have questions?
Yeah, if you have questions. I think that MOU is just it's more for the participation of the county in conjunction with the watershed district. So it's
They're gonna have to do something. It's awful weird.
fairly light as far as like contract
Right.
verbiage. Some of the things that we had talked about with, like restricting building downstream from dam breach areas and things like that would not be included in this document, so
There will be more to come.
that's right. That's right.
Okay.
And I think that I had a chance to review it last week, and I believe Tina incorporated those changes into the document that you have in front of you today.
Did you have any concerns with the memorandum of understanding? Those changes that you had? Questions for Sharon? Brandy, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I tried finding in there exactly what's gonna happen 20 years from now when that thing washes out, who takes care of it? That's the only thing I'm trying to find for, when it happens later on down the road, if it did wash out or something like that. I know we're responsible for the culverts. We said we'd take care of the culverts and stuff, but, I don't know about the low water crossing itself if it's not written down.
Okay, Sharon, do you have an answer for that for us?
I do not, I believe Brian and I had talked about that somewhat, and I believe that falls on the property owner in the conservation district. Or sorry, not the conservation, the watershed district.
Watershed district, yeah.
Well, the property owner will be the county because it's still our road, I suppose.
That 900 feet of channel change, that's on private property, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes.
So the majority of it at least is on private property. But you're right, the culverts would be the county property.
And the water crossing.
Yeah. But clearing downstream or upstream would be watershed. That, right, okay. Okay, Randy, do you still have concern?
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot of low water crossings around our county that's put in the 60s and they've all got their own problems now, or 60s or 70s. I don't remember when they was all put in, but, and I'm just looking ahead for this. If we should expect if there's a problem, should the county put it on our budget to pay some more? I'm not saying there will be. I hope there never is.
Right.
But would it fall under, if somebody else put it in, would it fall under anything that we could go for on state funding or anything like that?
Not on a secondary road like that, I don't.
I think that's still, just falls under our road right away.
Right.
And it's cheap with our bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but this new low water crossing the way they wanna do it, might teach us something about our other low water crossings.
Yeah, it could. It could.
techniques.
It does.
Changed in the last 50 years.
Well, this is those stabilizing blocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Low water crossings back in the 70s and 60s was just a low water crossing.
Yeah.
Crossing
Yeah.
at your own caution.
There was no work done upstream or downstream.
It just went across when it needed to.
So,
Quite a few.
I'm good with it. Otherwise,
Okay.
you know, I'm good with it. The way it's written otherwise.
Let's look at the memorandum of understanding. Are there any other concerns on that document?
Move forward with the memorandum.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Gehring to move forward with a memorandum of understanding between Marion County,
Second.
Doyle Creek Joint Watershed District 86, second by Commissioner Dahlke. Questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0 on the memorandum of understanding. The next document would be a order of the Board of Marion County Commissioners, Resolution 2024-10, permit to install the low water crossing.
I'd make that motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Dahlke. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Gehring. Questions or discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. Very good. Any closing comments?
I don't have any at this point.
More to come? Okay. We got, my understanding is Watershed has meeting on June 3rd, early June, and they'll be signing it and then submitting for
Credits.
Yeah. Project.
That was a conversation.
We don't want to go there today.
No.
Yeah, and I don't know if those are renewable. That's what I was wondering when Randy was talking about maintenance down the road, if those credits are renewable or if they're one time. I'm assuming they're
Ooh.
one time.
One time.
Yeah, they'd be one time.
In the limitations of the MOU, it's not a funding obligation. Document.
Here's the resolution.
And it did give the flexibility for either the county to do the work or the third parties, so that's good.
The MOU you have to sign. Good.
I did.
I think it says chairman on it.
All right, very good. Thank you, Sharon. All right, that concludes the set agenda. Any commission comments?
We need to put on the,
Go ahead, Randy, sorry.
I was just gonna say, you know, this is I think my first day with doing this from what we've done with the room and getting online and everything, and it's been a total success. If I can get on, anybody can, so. It's been good. I can hear everybody, and it's a good thing for Marion County, so thank you. Go ahead, Ken.
Good, glad to hear that.
I just wondered, I've noticed now we've gotten 2 letters from the county lake residents about road maintenance. Have you had any discussion with them?
No.
Do we need to have Steve come in and visit about it, or?
Let's ask, I'd say let's start with Tina.
There's nothing we can do.
I think maybe we need legal counsel to look at that. Those, you know, because they are stating some specific statutes and things like that, so I think we probably need to research it, but we can respond to it and just let them know.
Brad got the one from today or not? Or does he have the first one even?
Don't we usually provide some rock and a tractor and a speed
Yeah,
mower?
Isaac has been doing that, yes.
So, or do we just
Kinda
need to,
have in the
do we
past
just
anyway.
need to up,
cement rock, you could go get it yourself and
Yeah,
spread it yourself. You had to furnish your own vehicle.
yeah, they've always had a rock pile there.
And that's all it seemed like they were asking, so
I
I mean,
thought they
rather
wanted
than,
a loader
than,
and truck,
well, they were asking for a tractor and a speed mover.
whatever.
I think Isaac has that.
There's not room to operate one.
Speed mover?
You'll get bound up eventually someplace.
Everything's so narrow and crowded, and
Take a
then
corner of a garage or a boat or something out.
Some of that's pretty narrow out there.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough in a car to drive through.
Randy, did you have any comment?
No, I've been on those roads for 35 years out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the reason that we've always heard ever since I've been a commissioner is that the county never accepted roads that was not to a proper width. Now, Wilden's addition is to the proper width. We accepted that road. Lakeshore Drive, we've accepted that road all the way around. So that was my personal conversation with one of the persons that sent us a letter. But that's not good enough. But I thought we had been doing the tractor and the rock, and if there was bad spots, maybe we was jumping over and trying to help them on that. That's the only thing I thought we was doing, but I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
I mean, Isaac has in the past. And I remember Randy and his travels, his big pickup, he had to back up several times to make a corner here and there, didn't you?
Well, there's a couple spots down to
Yeah.
15, 20 feet, I think. Yeah.
I'd be against trying to accept those as county road per se.
Right.
Because
There's no way.
they aren't.
Yeah. And
I don't-
my last
I
comment
don't
was
want to
that those,
Haul some rock out there.
Is there consensus to have legal counsel respond since there was a lot of?
I think we
Yeah.
need to have a response.
Right. But I kind of gather our long-term approach would be to try to step up the game with maybe a little more rock, but to answer their specific questions, I think good.
Okay, I mean, I can maybe try to do a preliminary response and just,
That would be good. I think we need to send them something now that we are formulating a formal response.
I think the roads are the unique, nostalgic of living at the county lake.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Very well worded.
And I suppose some of them washed out last night if they had 5 inches of rain.
Yes,
Wow.
there's some gravel moved.
Coming in on Old 56, or the Pilsen Road. This water the shoulders came up on the highway.
Yeah.
It rained that hard, that fast.
That's what Isaac told me, scooping gravel off the blacktop, putting it back up on the hill.
That isn't his job description, right? Doing the road work. All right.
Nobody does it.
All right, Tina will do a preliminary response and we'll work with council to get a formal response. Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
No. In the response to, we don't have any problem with providing some rock. Some rock. I'm not gonna bring you the quarry, but.
Okay, other commission comments? If not, our next meeting is the 28th, Tuesday.
I got one comment.
Yes.
The Grand Prix race is this weekend in Florence.
Yes, thank you.
Somebody wants to see something different, and it's gonna be a beautiful weekend. They're gonna,
I've been asked to speak to the riders. What shall I say? They're gonna listen to me anyway.
they're gonna, from 1 to 5,
Just make sure the gun's loaded with live rounds. Maybe they'll listen.
Saturday afternoon.
I don't know what they got this year. They didn't tell me to bring a gun or anything.
And the race is Sunday.
Okay.
The 2 races on Sunday.
540 entries.
Is this the last weekend Fuzzies is open too?
I have no idea on that one.
It's for sale.
I think it's closing, but I don't know
It's for
when.
sale if you wanna buy it.
I've already got too many irons in the fire.
That would be a good investment for
Yes, thanks for bringing that up.
properties.
That is a big event for Marion County, and
Let's support the city of Florence.
that's right.
That's all for your daughter.
Okay, any other commission comments? Randy, do you have anything before we close out?
No, thank you.
All right, well, very good. Thank you for joining us online. I'm glad the experience is working better. Like I said,
Yep.
next meeting is the 28th, and then we will have payday on the 31st. I move to adjourn. Second by Commissioner Herring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried 5-0. We are adjourned.